solve some MCQs from ratio and proportion. These are some questions from previous year's board or specimen papers. Now in ICC exam, they will not ask questions on ratio alone. They will ask questions on proportion. Now we know that proportion is two or more equal ratios. In the first question, we have 1.5, 3, x and 8 are in proportion. Then x is equal to what? So the equal ratios that we have are 1.5 and 3, and the second one is x and 8. So we can say that 1.5 is to 3 is equal to x is to 8. This is the proportion. So in such kind of a proportion where we have two equal ratios, we have four quantities. The first number 1.5 is called the first proportional, 3 is the second proportional, x is the third proportional, 8 is the fourth proportional. So here the third proportional is not known. So I can write the same thing in this format also. 1.5 by 3 equals to x by 8. Then if I just move 8 to the other side, I will find what is x. So we have 1.5 by 3 into 8 will be same as x. Now 1.5 by 3 is same as 1 by 2. The double of 1.5 is 3. So this is 1 by 2 and 8 by 2 is 4. So we will get x equal to 4. Option B is correct. Then the second question is, the mean proportion between 9 and 16 is which of the following? Now sometimes we have proportions of the format A is to B is equal to B is to C. We see that this number is repeated 2 times and this is called the mean proportional. The first number is the first proportional and the last number is the third proportional. So in between we have the mean proportional, and such kind of a proportion is called a continued proportion. So we will say that if I write it in another way, A by B equals to B by C, and if I cross multiply, B squared is always equal to A into C. So the square of mean proportional is equal to product of the first proportional and the third proportional. So suppose if B is the mean proportional here, B square will be equal to 9 into 16. So I will say here B square equals to 9 into 16. So if I take the square root, B will be equal to root of 9 into 16, which is 3 into 4, and that is 12. So 12 is the mean proportional. And we are taking the positive square root because the parts of a ratio we are considering positive. So the answer is D12. Also, if we look at the other options, we should know that mean proportional between two numbers is always in between those two numbers. So it has to be more than 9 and less than 16. So only option D matches that. Moving on to the next question. Question is, if 5a by 7b is equal to 4c by 3d, then by componendo and dividendo, which of the following is true? Now let's revise the properties of proportion. Given any proportion a by b equals to c by d, I can change this proportion to get new proportions. So suppose, for example, if I take the reciprocal on both the sides, I have b by a, that will be always equal to d by c, and this property is known as invertendo. If I interchange b and c, if I exchange them or through cross multiplication, whatever you can say, a by c will always be equal to b by d, and this property is known as alternando. Now if suppose in the proportion a by b equals to c by d, if I add the two numbers a and b and I put that in the numerator here, a plus b divided by b, that will always be equal to c plus d by d. This property is known as componendo. Componendo is to add something. So we are adding the numerators here. Or if given the proportion A by B equals to C by D, A minus B by B is always equal to C minus D by D. This property is known as dividendo. Now I can combine componendo and dividendo to say that given A by B equals to C by D, A plus B by A minus B is always equal to C plus D by C minus D. This is known as componendo and dividendo. So in the given proportion in the question, 5A by 7B is equal to 4C by 3D. Then according to componendo and dividendo, 5A plus 7B by 5A minus 7B must be equal to 4C plus 3D by 4C minus 3D, and that matches option C.